Okay. So these two phenomena means faculty don't have time, a student don't have time. Okay. But if you are going to talk about the mission of our government, then focus in the learning. Learning has to be maximized. Okay. So as far as the resources is concerned, input in terms of time that is not available with both the participants. One participant is a student community, another participant is we as faculty. So there is constraint on the resource, but output we are trying to maximize. And as part of IM system or top institution system, placement is going to be one of the litmus tests. So what a student has learned, it is going to be just evaluate, assessed by the placement, our recruiters. Then we are going to say, sir, the student had this kind of limitation. Okay. So this is going to the background. That is the one thing. Second thing is that the COVID regime compelled us to transfer the education system entirely. Earlier, electronics gadgets used to be supplementary, complementary, but never substitute. We have seen that 3 years of education system, physical education system, or you can say the traditional education system, is totally substituted by electronic system. Okay. So with this background, now the panel will focus on discussion on innovation in teaching management, education, the changing role of book. So I'll take 1 more minute to make you understand the background of the book. As far as the format of the book, traditional format, we are able to understand. But during COVID, the format of book itself got changed from the physical copy to the electronic copy. And again, electronic copy, interactive or non-interactive, just a scan version of or digital version of electronic copy of the book was not sufficient, is but not appreciated by both the participant. It has to be interactive. Okay. So against this backdrop, I'll invite our panelists one by one to focus on their niche area. And very first, I would like to request Dr. Arvind Kumar, Dean of Atal Bihari Vajpayee School of Management and Entrepreneurship, Jawaharlal Nehru University. So MBA program or management education at this school is focused on entrepreneurship. So, sir, request you to please highlight what are the innovations taken place of post-COVID and catering the need of industry at your institution.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank IIM Kasipur, in particular, Director IIM Kasipur, Professor Balooni ji, and a very dynamic leader from IIM Kasipur, that is Dr. Kunal ji, for inviting us. My fellow panelists, Professor Neerja Pande ji, Professor Kartik Dave ji, Professor Singh ji, and Dr. Kirti Sharma ji. So Dr. Kunal has asked me to talk about what are the practices so far my institution is concerned. I come from Atal Bihari Vajpayee School of Management and Entrepreneurship, Jawaharlal Nehru University. So our focus is entrepreneurship. Before coming to the formal panel, I was just discussing with my esteemed panelists, like what are the practices. So we were discussing about the culture of entrepreneurship. Then we were like on a point, we were on a consensus that entrepreneurship cannot be seen in isolation. It has to be integrated. So you required people, somebody who can fund your idea. You must have a great idea that can be translated into the business, profitable idea, or it may reach to the society. That also reminded me during that informal discussion, we were talking about IIM Kasipur has connected with the farmers. And this is amazing to share with all of you that the footfall was 40,000 farmers. So if a premier institution like IIM Kasipur is able to connect with 40,000 farmers, I think purpose of any academic institution is served. So coming back to the idea of entrepreneurship, so it has to be integrated with different domains, be it finance, be it HR, be it innovation, be it technology. We also have among us Professor Singh, who represent IIT Delhi, one of the leading institutions so far the technical education in our country is concerned. So the point that I am trying to make, Atal Bihari Vajpayee School is promoting entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship. We are also connecting with the society. We are also promoting women entrepreneurship. So there are nearby villages to JNU. Our students are going to the women's, and we are also partnering with NGOs. So self-help groups are there. We are promoting them, and we are also like whenever, for example, if a female entrepreneur wants to have some financial support from the financial institution, so our institutions is also connecting with the financial institution, be it bank, and we are supporting them. I'm very happy to share with all of you that we also have Section 8 companies in our campus. We are also partnering with Niti Aayog. So a lot of support is also given by the Niti Aayog. So we are creating a lot of ecosystem for entrepreneurship. Though we are not a very old institution in management education, we started our journey in 2019. So our two MBA batches passed out, but I can see a lot of entrepreneurs are, so they are enterprising, is doing well. And one thing that I can see from the fellow panelists today we are meeting, so we'll have partnering with IIM Lucknow, Ambedkar University, IIT Delhi, and of course with MDI and IIM Kasipur. So until unless we don't partner with each other, so for example, IIT Delhi has a very sound technical ecosystem. So we must partner with them. I just want to share within the JNU, we also have a very sound institution of computers, biotechnology. So we are also partnering with them. Generally, the perception is like our university is famous for social sciences. So I want to place in record that our university is also good in sciences. So the school names that I talked about, be it life sciences or biotechnology, so we are partnering with them. So we are working in the area of entrepreneurship. When it comes to the pedagogy part, so I want to share with all of you that generally we call it industrial visit. Either you call it incursion. So that is also one of the pedagogy. We at our school trying to encourage a lot of industrial interaction. So a lot of industrial interfaces there. These are the few ways where we are promoting our students. And I can see in near future that budding entrepreneurs would be there from our school. So these are the areas, but I can also share with the August audience here that you cannot only think of the commercial aspect that your startup or the organization could focus on the commercial or business aspect. You can also come up with the social aspect, social entrepreneurship. You can have one NGO, you can have a small or tiny organization, and you can also practice entrepreneurs. So with these opening words, I would like to stop here. So Kunalji, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your school being located in premises of JNU is supported by other departments. Okay, and basically they are acting as feeder for your school, and certainly your school is going to contribute a lot in the field of management education. After this representation from JNU, now we are talking about the institute which was founded to train our bureaucrats. And the flagship program was known as NLP, National Leadership Program. It was focused on IS and other state civil servants. Okay. So if you are going to ask any IS who is going to train during period of 80 to 90s, many of them will say that I am alumni of Management Development Institute Gurgaon or Gurugram. Debate is there, but now I think it is Gurugram. Another beauty is this institute was established by PSU, known as IFCI, Industrial Finance Corporation of India. That is the beauty. And although institute is located in Gurugram, but once upon a time, not at present, but once upon a time, office used to be associated with the office that was located in Nehru Place. Okay, so with this background, we have representation from that particular institute, Dr. Kirti Sharma. And MBA program has a flavor of all those bureaucrat training. So this is the USP of MDI. Now, Dr. Sharma is here and he will highlight that what the changes have taken place and in order to cater needs of the management education, what kind of the innovations are adopted in order to discharge responsibility as faculty. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Kunal, for giving us this opportunity to represent MDI here in the panel discussion. As already mentioned by Dr. Kunal and fellow colleagues, it is very important to see how the role of book is changing in the current scenario. If we see a small child today and we tell him to do something, he has a very clear question, why? And a lot of time, the attention span of this child is so short that while you tell him that read this and you will find the answer to this why, the child's attention is already gone to the next level or the next question. I would say the students whom we get in most of our programs are no different than these small children. And that's the peculiar behavior of a Gen Z or a millennial today. Even if you talk to any Gen X CMO or CEO, one of the challenge for them is how to deal with this workforce which has such less attention span. And then we force them to read a whole book in a short time duration, which is 2.5 months, which possibly he might not be interested in. Now we need to understand the behavior here. These kids would go to Google and they would get an answer instantaneously. Gone are the days when even kids are looking at a dictionary. I think all of us have grown up looking at Oxford Dictionary. I don't see an Oxford Dictionary in most of the houses today. We use a dictionary which is either in a tab or in a phone. And that's exactly how these kids have grown up and they come for higher education. So once you understand that behavior, we would like to create a book which will give them instant answers, which means the role of a book which used to be in the form of a page and properly binded. Now this is a book which has answers to all kind of questions which they would like to have, which has the facility to seek and find the way Google provides them. But of course, with much relevant resources, because Google is something which is vast. Google can give you even non-validated answers and solutions which might not be right. And that is why still most of the schools emphasize on an encyclopedia. And that is why in management education, especially for subjects which are extremely contemporary, we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about Internet of Things. These are all very relevant, very new to the age kind of subjects. And if we can have certain chapters from multiple sources, we source them and then create a book which is handed over to a student with a course outline, the student would be much more interested to see what is there. And then there are references and the links of those references which he can use through the library online resources. So we pay a lot to get these resources in our library. But if you look at any library register, we don't find more than 40 people visiting a library in a day. And that's the reality which we are facing. So it's very important that rather than pushing students to do something, we understand what is their behavior and how can I still, being in academics, feel my responsibility and create something which is a relevant source of the kind of information this student is searching for. And that is why when we discuss this kind of problem with some of the publishers, we have seen both, some of these publishers have started giving these solutions that you can create your own book. So you can source chapters from relevant published sources, and then you can create a book which is more relevant as per the course outline of a particular subject, which is new age subject, and we all agree that if any of us is writing a book, will take at least 2 years to write a book. And by the time some of these technologies and subjects, at least some part of it gets outdated. So it's very important to be very relevant, very contemporary, and hence I would not say in all the subjects, but at least some contemporary subjects, there is a revised role of looking at how this book has to be, so that the student has an intrigue, can go there and search for information. It will give him an opportunity to put comments to highlight the way he used to be. And he can copy and share certain material on the classroom, which is the group of all the participants who are studying the same subjects. And there could be multiple discussion groups in the same manner which they are habitual of. This is the generation which is more comfortable to interact in a virtual environment. So it becomes absolutely impossible that we tell them to not interact in virtual environment and stop that interaction. So rather than that, we can facilitate through these kind of solutions so that they interact in their natural, comfortable environment. So that's the take which as an institution we have taken. And we are trying to create those kind of books which are more up to the mark, which are more relevant to the students. And it gives them an opportunity to interact, to put their questions across, which can be later on discussed in the classroom environment, and have a discussion forum where at a particular time, maybe once in 2 days, a faculty can also put some comments across and share another source which could be useful to the students. So that was small bit which I thought can be relevant for everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, Delhi, which is capital of our nation. I am looking Delhi from different perspective from management. What the management challenge is being faced by Delhi. Okay, so political capital got shifted from Kolkata to Delhi, but still Kolkata was supposed to be the industrial capital. At the same point of time, if you are going to see the farthest part in one region, then you will find that Mumbai is economic capital. Okay. In spite of that, all those, Delhi is going to manage everything, whether it is going to be industry policy, whether it is going to be the managerial policy or financial policy or policy regard pertaining to any PSU. Okay. Now this compel Delhi to cater needs of the big community for management education. And Ambedkar University is there to cater the needs of Delhi and offer courses at UG level, PG level, and of course, doctoral level. So now we have Dean of a school of, I think he will be in better position to name the school, but management education is going to have flavor of public policy. So now I request Dr. Kartik Dave, Dean at Ambedkar University, to please mention his school briefly, because this is going to be the new one school. Then highlight on innovations taking place at his school as far as teaching management courses concerned. So, sir.
So thank you, Dr. Kunal, for giving this opportunity to us and talk on this pertinent issue, but how the current generation is slowly getting disconnected with books. As far as management education is concerned, as you are aware that in management education we use different kinds of ways and different kind of techniques for making our students aware about the subject and prepare them for different challenges in the field of management. We use different kind of tools and techniques in classroom, ranging from case studies to simulations to book reading, discussions, dialogue, class teaching, and so on and so forth. But like my fellow panelists clearly mentioned just now, that attention span, and I would say one of the interesting term which has come up, that is called net neutrality. These days we are talking about this. And attention span of a student has reduced from 12 seconds to 8 seconds on a particular subject or particular thing. And it is not just I'm saying from some resources. It was a detailed survey done by NBT in 2009, and then they find out that in India, we are not only in India, across the globe, this is a phenomena, but in India specifically, whether we are talking about urban India or rural India, we are slowly finding that our students, our kids are not able to focus upon one thing. And that's how, if you look at the education in general and management education in particular, it is very difficult for us to reconnect students with the books. And we are slowly getting habitual of reading and writing and doing all the activities online. And that was a compulsion during COVID. But post-COVID, again, I think there is a high time for us to rethink that how and why the importance of books should be come to classroom and also of the classroom as well, and how we can make books as a part and parcel of the entire teaching learning process, so that we can understand the importance of experiential learning. And books are actually the bridge between past and the future. So what past has suggested and past has given us in terms of legacy and the knowledge, I think without books that is not possible. That how we can think about what management thinkers used to think in 60s, 70s, 80s. If those books were not available, then how we can understand the business history, how we can understand the evolution of the discipline itself. So I think the time has come where we have to devise certain new techniques and tools to reconnect our students in classroom and off the classroom to with the great minds. And great minds we can understand only when we read books written by those great minds. So all the books which are written in the past are still relevant. We cannot say that those books are not relevant. Even national education policy, we are talking a lot about it. And I think there is an ample opportunity for us to relook what are the facets of national education policy and how we can understand the ancient wisdom. And through books, we can, like Dr. Kirti has just mentioned, that it is very difficult for us to focus upon one book at a time. But if we can draw concepts of various management domains, and we can bring into one kind of course curriculum, and then we cater to students. And when the students are going through all these chapters and readings from different books, possibly they will be able to understand that what is so peculiar about those books. I remember one very interesting story, and people used to tell us in our college days that why don't you read Gandhi? And that time we used to wonder that how come Gandhi is relevant in management education. But today, if we look at Young India book, or look at Hind Swaraj book, or look at my experiment with Truth book, you can understand a lot of interesting aspects which are still relevant even for the changing world where we are talking about Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0. Industry 4.0, we talked a lot about how technological interventions are changing our day-to-day life. But again, we are now started thinking about and working on Industry 5.0, and we are again talking about human intelligence and cobots and how humans will interact with robotics and Internet of Things and other things. So I think we are again and again looking for some interesting relationship between past and future, and that can happen only when we make our students more, you can say, aware about the importance of books which are written in past and as well as books which are being written now. So books will never be obsolete, that is for sure. Books are like, you can say, the lighthouses in the sea of time. And I'm sure that all these events like this, which I am witnessing, and yes, I was reading newspaper today, and I found that 1.7 lakh people visited this book fair. And I think that is very encouraging sign. I am sure that all of them are not coming for only books purchase and books reading. They are coming for various reasons, but that's okay. There is a kind of environment which we need to create again after post-COVID, I would say. And we need to make our young students specifically to understand the importance of books in current times. I agree that people are talking about experiential learning. They talk about industrial training program. They talk about simulations. They talk about on-the-job training. All these things are relevant, but at the same time, students will be able to understand the concepts of management education only when we are bringing. And I'm aware our fellow panelist, Professor Neerja Pande, I am aware that she offers a course where she is taking help from the ancient wisdom and how different philosophers and different, you can say, writers from across the globe, and how students understand and create a new perspective for themselves. And I think that is what the need of the hour today. And I would try to focus more in our university also. We are talking about it. And we are a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary university. So we encourage our students to go for some of the books which are very as a popular readings in psychology, sociology, and political science, and how these popular readings are connected with management education and entrepreneurship. And students really enjoy reading those books. And we organize some of the events on book reading, and they come back and they say, okay, no, this is what we never understood. This type of psychological aspects we never taken into consideration while doing this exercise. So I think NEP provides us that platform that we go back to our roots. And apart from all these new age books, we should also focus on our ancient wisdom, that what we can learn from Bhagavad Gita, what we can learn from Vidur Niti, what we can learn from Shukra Niti, what we can learn from Upanishad. All these learnings, I think we should bring back to the classroom. And that is how we can make leaders for tomorrow. So this is what my take is.
Thank you, sir. Get connected and be connected. That was the gist of what sir has given a piece of advice to all of us, that in order to understand different aspects of management, the best way is get connected and be connected. It may be with your neighbors, it may be with your other discipline, other school of your university or institutions. Now, the challenge here is establishing an institute and growing. Another challenge is to make another institute get established in terms of its brand value. That is more challenging task, hilarious task, as compared to grow as institute and survive. So this hilarious task is already performed by IIM Lucknow. IIM Lucknow has mentored 4 other IIMs: IIM Rohtak, IIM Kasipur, IIM Sirmaur, and IIM Jammu. So IIM Lucknow has mentored 4 other IIMs, and it is popularly known as mother of IIMs. Although it is going to be located in the city of Nawabs, but IIM Lucknow has prevailed as mother of IIMs, and in order to cater needs of NCR, one campus dedicated for NCR is also established, and that is managed by Dr. Neerja Pande, who is before us. Now I request Neerja Madam to please highlight all those features in the field of innovation in teaching management. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Professor. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, my panel members, for your insights. Today, when we're looking at the role of book, so I will focus on that topic itself. I think the first thing which comes to my mind is the education system which we come from. And for us, our bread and butter and our life and our dreams and our existence and everything is a book. It starts with a book, it continues with a book, and may God find us somewhere in the middle of a book when we breathe our last. That is the power of a book for us. Yes, today in the management classrooms, participant-centered learning is taking the focus. And for that, there are some issues which have been already raised, that how do we engage the students? How do we keep their attention? What kind of methodologies, pedagogies we can use? Gamification of a lot of courses, role plays, curated books, which our professor has talked about. But you'll be very surprised that I'm actually going back to something very different. And I'm able to see the power of this very ancient and very traditional method, which is working very well. And it's very difficult for me to really agree to the fact that students do not have attention span. The whole policy of the new education policy also looks at something which I have been looking at the last 3.5 decades of my teaching. And that is, we have to not look at what should people think, but we have to make them understand how to think. To increase the thinking capability of our future leaders, because I completely believe that the leaders of tomorrow, from whichever field they come, whichever public policy, bureaucrats, management, designers, academicians, politicians, everybody has to be a thinking leader. You cannot be a leader, you cannot lead people if you do not think. And how will you be able to enhance your thinking? If you will be able to feed it with some amazing books, some amazing writing, which took the writer sometimes 3 decades to write, 10 years to write. And there's a whole lifetime which they have eschewed and encompassed in this one single book. I'm so happy that my co-panelist knows that I teach a course which is Leadership Through Literature, and I go back to as much as 2,500 years, my dear parents, budding students, my panelists who are sitting in front of me. Sophocles and his book Antigone is a classical book which has survived 2,500 years. And anything to do on personal responsibilities and professional responsibilities, civil duties and religious duties, civil duties and responsibilities as a leader, and the power of a woman leader. You have to go back to that book. My experiments with truth. Can I teach leadership without Gandhi? Absolutely not. After reading my experiments with truth and also combining with some very classical films, the making of the Mahatma, I think the students are able to realize, that ethics, the significance of values in your life. Siddharth, Hermann Hesse, a German writer, wrote the book exactly 100 years back. This is the 101st year. And I have visited some of the stations of, Mofussil towns in UP and try to look at the bookshops there and to see if they have Siddhartha. And to my surprise, they have. Just one single statement from that book. When Siddhartha tells his prospective employer, the employer asks him, that, what can you do for us? And Siddhartha says, I can think, I can wait, I can fast. Leaders have to just do these three things. They have to think rationally, emotionally, logically, analytically, holistically, and books teach you that. I can wait. Perseverance, patience. You have to have a patience of reading, even during COVID times, sir and ma'am. You'll be very happy to know I insisted on couriering my 8 books to the students across the country. I wanted them to feel the book in their hands, to pause between pages and think, because it's not the author who's written the book. These classical books are written in such a way that you are the co-author. You're looking at it through your mental frameworks, your mind, and you become a co-writer, and then it connects with you. So I think personally, I feel that we have to bring our students, our children, our country back to the classical works. You'll be very happy to know that we I do teach Chanakya through Vishaka Dutt's Mudra Rakshas. We look at JRD's life through Beyond the Last Blue Mountain. And I think, yes, I think, when you are able to make them mull over things, it's not fraction of a second instant gratification. And I think you have to take decisions very slowly sometimes, very carefully sometimes. So you have to read slow, you have to think slow. Sometimes you have to think fast, but I think I have seen not only I doing that across management, institutions today. Our pedagogies are really, the case method is amazing. It's there. And all that you've said is being incorporated in the curated cases that we have. But we are also going to wisdom of Indian philosophy. We're going to immersion programs on Himalayan trekking. We are going to teaching through Bhagavad Gita. We are bringing a lot of anthropology, sociology. I think it's, a well-rounded person who will be able to take this country and the world ahead. Thank you so much, Professor Kunal, for inviting me here. And I think nobody else, I have really lived books and, thrive on book. So nothing can replace it. A physical book in your hand.
Thank you, ma'am. So read and think. Read and think. That is the only option if you are going to manage anything. So to enhance your managerial skill, read slow, think slow, try to connect with your task. That will improve your managerial leadership. And this cannot be done without studying or without learning from leaders. Their write-ups are the best document, the best specimen copy of the task, the way it is like to be performed. You have to learn that from the literature. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Now, we are talking about management education, but if you see the evolution of education, from the art, it comes to the science, and from the science, it was specified to engineering. And from the engineering, now it is known as a technology. So, there are many institutions firing in the field of technology. IIT Delhi is one of the institutes, and now we have representation from IIT Delhi. So Dr. Sumesi is with us, and now I'll request, sir, please throw light on innovation in teaching management taking place at your institution.
Thank you, Professor Kunal, and it is an opportunity to be among such a eminent panel. I had Madam has taken some of the words which I was also trying to ponder upon. One thing was books are at their own pace. If you compare with video tutorials or YouTube uh, videos, and they will be having a defined pace, say 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And while you go through books, it will be initially in your few books, you will might take more time, but over a period of time, you will glance very fast. And you all would be remembering like how fast Swami Vivekananda used to glance through a book and read it. So before doing that, he would have gone through so many of books in a smaller or maybe a supernatural power he was. But I, as a person, if I think that when I was with books, I was at certain times very slow. And some teachers suggested that you need to read fast. But then I also asked myself, why do we need to read so fast? If I read fast and absorb 5% of the book, I may rather spend more time and absorb more percentage of that book. So I compare book reading to walking in the garden, and compare YouTube videos to be maybe moving in a car. So if you are walking in a garden, you are at a slow pace, you will understand the beauty of the flower. You may take some fragrance also. You may be going through a similar road on a car, and you will just glance through all this and you may not gain anything. So purpose becomes very important. And very rightly said by ma'am, like how does a character is built? Book is an argument within yourself. Some of the books which I have gone through, I didn't like the way the book was written, but then I have a perspective. Some of the books which I found that this was would have been the last book, and it was so good that that determined me to work for further. But nevertheless, we also need to understand how are the problems with books. Some problems I would like to address, like language is a very big barrier. Maybe you have a very nice book written in certain language, and the author, the reader is not very conversant in that language, so they will have difficulty. So also like Chinese books not coming to India, and Indian Sanskrit books very difficult to be understood by other countries. I am very happy that Germany has so many schools which are translating Sanskrit books into German language and English also. So this is the difficulty which I have found. Like maybe we all are speaking in English and we are learned with 20, 30 years of experience. But just compare a child who is sitting in a village in UP or Bihar or Kerala. He will take some 20, 25 years to be learned enough to be coming across to the knowledge which is in the books. And this is the gap which video tutorials and present day technologies enables us to. See, technological advancement, if you say our students have, I come from design background, we try to do interventions into how technology can be fused with users. So some of the interventions which our student has done, like making a augmented reality thing on a solar system. So you have an NCRT book, you have a solar system diagram over there. But for a person who is not learned in English, to visualize that how these planets are rotating or revolving, it becomes very difficult. So the AR app can be put on that and you can see the planets rotating, which will make at least life of those people who have to undergo difficulties little easier. At the same time, I am taking you back again to the advantages of book, because there's so much content on YouTube and Google and all different kind of apps. We don't have the reliability. Who is writing it? So book has a authorship. And when I was a student in standard 10th, 12th and so on, I was selecting, like there were a lot of reference materials and there were a lot of questions which are asked in different exams. And we will see that this was the question which was asked in 1985 MNRE exam. So I say, okay, this is important question. So this is the book which is written by 𝐊𝐴𝐴. So I'll say, no, this is 𝐊𝐴𝐴 who is such and such person, or I.V. Rodov. So you may have similar kind of questions which may misguide you also. So being in safe hand is also required. So these online contents, I feel we have lesser chances of doing away with them. We have to adopt them in our book culture, but there has to be a lot of authorship to it. Like what is the impact? What is the kind of visualization? Who are the authors? Who is ascertaining that the content is right. And on YouTubes and all, you will find that people are more than misguiding rather than guiding. Someone gets hand to how do you make a tutorial, and they will make a reel, post it over there. And I start referring to some of the reels, and there's no reference as such. Which reel, by which person, on what date, what publication. So book is again very important, but only my suggestion is that we should have authorship of online materials, and we should bring online materials also. Book is also a very creative thing. Like, it lets your mind think. If a novel is also talking about a knife or a stairs, I will be imagining my kind of knife and my kind of stairs. The other person is imagining their kind of knife. If they say that the person has jumped out of window, I'll not be imagining the window which is being told to me in the YouTube, which is one kind of window for everyone. Here, the window is maybe a person in village is thinking about a window which is carved out of mud, which has a rod, and he sees that this is not possible to jump from there. And maybe another person who is into a steel frame window and says, yes, it is possible. So book also is very important for your imagination. So I think after so much of great talk, I think this much is what I can pour into. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Always be in safe zone. This is the difference between the online material and the physical copy of the material. Okay. So the book having authorship guarantees you that you are in safe zone. Okay. But online material does not guarantee whether you are in safe zone or not. That is the one of the difference. And I think many of us is going to consider while designing our strategy to study any material. That is, thank you, sir. Now, is there any question from the audience for us? Any question from the audience? Yeah.
नमस्ते मैम। नमस्ते सर। मैम, मैं पर्सनली ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि एक टीचर बनने के और जो मैं कदम बढ़ाई हूँ, वहां पे मैं अपनी सफलता को कैसे साबित कर सकती हूँ या सफलता कैसे पा सकती हूँ, ताकि मैं बच्चों के बीच में एक अच्छे टीचर के रूप में उभर सकूं।
आंसर सबसे चाहिए, मैम से चाहिए?
एक्चुअली सबसे चाहिए।
नहीं, मैम ही स्टार्ट।
मैं पहले तो अपने और उसके बाद देखिए आपको और भी कुछ बताएंगे लोग। बहुत आप बैठ जाएं प्लीज। बहुत अच्छी एस्पिरेशन है तुम्हारी, तुम टीचर बनना चाहती हो। मैं 35 साल से टीचर हूँ और देश में विदेश में बहुत जगह पढ़ाया। सबसे पहले तो हमको दोनों चीजों का इस रोल में, सिर्फ टीचर के लिए, हर जो एक प्रोफेशन होता है ना, उसकी अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज होती हैं। पुलिस ऑफिसर्स की अपनी है, आर्मी ऑफिसर्स की अपनी है। एक जो टीचर है, जो आपका गुरु है, वो दूसरों को सिर्फ हम जो क्लास में पढ़ा रहे हैं उसमें तो ये लेके चलना होगा कि आप उसमें माहिर हैं। लेकिन टीचर को, चाहे आप के क्लास 1 के बच्चे हों, चाहे हमारे MBA स्टूडेंट्स हों, चाहे हमारे लीडर्स एग्जीक्यूटिव्स हों, सब लोग टीचर्स को बहुत क्लोजली ऑब्जर्व करते हैं। तो हमारा कॉन्डक्ट, हमारा कैरेक्टर और हमारी कॉम्पिटेंस, तीनों चीजें बहुत जरूरी हैं। आपका एकेडमिक कॉम्पिटेंस जिस आपकी फील्ड में है उसमें आपको बहुत एक्सपर्ट होना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि आपका एक माइंड है, आपके सामने 60 माइंड्स बैठे हैं, है ना। तो उनकी आपको बात को सुनना है, समझना है। तो अपनी एक, जिस भी क्षेत्र में आप जाना चाहें उसमें खूब ध्यान से पढ़ें। फिर अपनी एक पर्सनल वैल्यूज को भी बहुत क्लोजली फॉलो करें। दिस फार एंड नो फर्दर। यू शुड हैव अ वे ऑफ लाइफ, because people are observing you and you are becoming a role model for them, and they will feel cheated if tomorrow you sometimes are not coming up to their expectations. You have to be a very very good human being. जैसे मेरे 2 बच्चे हैं, लेकिन जब मैं कहती हूँ अरे आज मुझे इतना बच्चा मिल गया, वो समझते हैं कौन सा बच्चा, हम लोग भी कोई और बच्चा। तो सारे ही बच्चे अपने हैं वो ऐसे कहने के लिए नहीं, वो यहाँ से आना चाहिए। आप समझ रहे हैं? तो कॉम्पिटेंस, कैरेक्टर एंड कॉन्डक्ट, ऑल द थ्री थिंग्स विल बी।
मैं भी अगर ऐड कर सकूं तो आपको ये सोचना होगा कि आप किस तरह के टीचर बनना चाहते हैं। गांधी भी एक टीचर है, चाणक्य भी एक टीचर है। आपको अपने बच्चों जिनको आप पढ़ा रहे हो उनको कैसा देखना चाहते हो? शिक्षक जैसा मैं मानता हूँ, शिक्षक कभी साधारण नहीं होता है। तो वो असाधारणता है क्या? मेरे को सबसे ज्यादा खुशी मिलती है अगर मेरा विद्यार्थी कल को कुछ अचीव करके वापस आता है कि सर मेरे को बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है, मैं आपको ये खबर सुनाना चाहता हूँ कि मैं अमेरिका पहुंच गया, या मैंने यूपीएससी निकाल ली, या मैंने अपनी कंपनी खोल ली। तो वो खुशी आपको अपने अंदर ढूंढना पड़ेगा। आप ऐसा भी चाह सकते हैं कि हमारे बच्चे जो आपके स्टूडेंट हैं वो समाज सुधार का काम करें और वो लौट के आके बोलें कि मैंने ऐसे सोसाइटी में परिवर्तन लाया। वो आपको खुशी देगी। तो आपको अपनी खुशी पहले खुद तलाश करनी चाहिए, जो मैं तलाश करता हूँ। मैं एक टेक्नोलॉजी इंस्टीट्यूट में हूँ, स्टार्टअप का कल्चर चल रहा है, मैं लोगों को नए प्रोडक्ट बनाने सिखाता हूँ, और कोई आगे जाके प्रोडक्ट को मार्केट करके बना के कंपनी खोल लेता है तो मेरे को बड़ी खुशी होती है। और कोई नहीं खोल पाता है तो मेरे को लगता है इसको मैं कैसे सपोर्ट करूं, कि क्या मतलब जाके मदद ना करूं, इसको मैं केपेबल इंसान कैसे बनाऊं ताकि वो लौट के पिट के ना आए मेरे पास, वो स्ट्रांग रहे और जाके आगे अच्छा काम करे, तो मेरे को ज्यादा खुशी होती है। वैसे आपको भी आपकी खुशी तलाश करनी होगी। शिक्षक की जर्नी बहुत लंबी होती है। आपको भी, जैसा मैडम ने बोल रही थी पहले, परसिवरेंस, धैर्य होनी बहुत जरूरी है। धैर्य के बिना आप शिक्षक अच्छे नहीं बन पाएंगे। कोई विद्यार्थी अच्छा कर रहा होगा, कोई खराब कर रहा होगा, आपको उसको ऑब्जर्व करना है, उसको सही समय पे कुछ गाइडेंस देना है, कई समय पे उसको छोड़ना है डिसीजन मेकिंग के लिए। तो परसिवरेंस बहुत जरूरी है। अभी अगला 20 साल आपका बहुत इंजॉयबल होगा। और शिक्षक कभी रिटायर नहीं होता है। वो भीष्म पितामह शैया पे लेट के भी सबको ज्ञान दे रहे थे कि क्या करना चाहिए, नहीं करना चाहिए। तो शिक्षक कभी रिटायर नहीं होता।
कुणाल जी, अगर अनुमति दें तो मैं भी बस संक्षिप्त में दो बातें जोड़ दूं। आज जैसा मैडम और सर ने कहा है वो चीजें तो जरूर करें। और आप शिक्षक बनना चाहते हैं और हम सब लोग शिक्षक हैं, इस पैनल में जब देख रहे हैं तो मैं चाहता हूं कि एक भावी शिक्षक का बहुत स्वागत है। बस केवल दो बातें कहूंगा कि जो यहाँ का पैनल डिस्कशन का थीम है और उसमें रेलेवेंस ऑफ बुक्स की बात कही गई है, तो शिक्षक का जो समानार्थी मुझे लगता है, पुस्तकों के बिना शिक्षक के अस्तित्व की बात कर ही नहीं सकते हैं। जैसा सर ने भी कहा, मैडम ने भी कहा, आपकी जर्नी बड़ी लंबी होने वाली है और आपको ये तय करना है कि किस तरह का शिक्षक बनना है आपको। आप हायर एजुकेशन के शिक्षक बनना चाहते हैं या इंटरमीडिएट एजुकेशन का शिक्षक बनना चाहते हैं, तो केवल और केवल की पॉइंट, बहुत बातें कही जा चुकी हैं कैरेक्टर कॉम्पिटेंस की, तो मैं कहूँगा केवल आप अपना मित्र किताबों को बनाएं और किताबें आपको बहुत कुछ सिखाएंगी, कॉन्फिडेंस देंगी। और दूसरी बात है जो आर्ग्यूमेंट है, जैसा मैडम ने भी कहा कि आपका असेसमेंट, हम सब टीचर से सबका असेसमेंट होता है रोज, कम से कम अगर 60 की क्लास है तो 120 निगाहें आपको इवेल्युएट करती हैं। तो आपको आर्ग्यूमेंट से सहमत, मतलब आपको सहमत असहमत होने की भी सहमति चाहिए। तो उस तरह का आपको अपनी पर्सनैलिटी डेवलप करनी पड़ेगी। अग्रीमेंट ऑफ डिसएग्रीइंग, तो आपको 60 बच्चों की क्लास जो आपके स्टूडेंट हैं उनके साथ डिसएग्रीमेंट, और उसको कैसे काउंटर करेंगे वो आपको कला सीखनी पड़ेगी। तो आपके करियर के लिए बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आई स्टॉप हियर।
एक लास्ट पॉइंट में बोलना चाहती थी कि एक शिक्षक के लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि आप एक एग्जाम्पल सेट करें। यू लीड फ्रॉम द फ्रंट। मतलब कि अगर आप एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि आपका बच्चा हर रोज, आपका स्टूडेंट 20 पेज पढ़े, तो पहले आप ये देखिए कि आप क्या हर रोज 40 पेज पढ़ रहे हैं। तो सिर्फ एक्सपेक्ट करना, क्योंकि मैं उस पोजीशन ऑफ पावर में हूं कि मैं टीचर हूं, मैं बच्चे से कुछ भी एक्सपेक्ट कर सकता हूं बिकॉज उसकी असेसमेंट मेरे हाथ में है, ये नहीं होना चाहिए। और वही बात मैम ने कही, कैरेक्टर तभी आएगा जब आप बिल्कुल उस चीज को हर रोज अपने में ढालेंगे। तो टीचर मुझे लगता है बनना नहीं होता है, टीचर होना होता है। एंड फॉर मी टीचर इज अ स्टूडेंट हु इज लाइफ लॉन्ग a student, a senior student, but learning doesn't stop. तो अगर हम ये सोच लेंगे कि आज मैं टीचर बन गया या बन गई, शायद हमारी लर्निंग वहीं रुक जाए. तो सही मायने में एक टीचर ऐसा इंसान है जो हर रोज ही हम कुछ नया सीख रहे हैं और जाके सिखा रहे हैं. तो कभी भी ये मत सोचेगा कि अब मैं टीचर बन गई. हमें हर रोज टीचर बनना है और इसीलिए हर रोज वो आगे से फ्रंट से लीड करता है.
आपकी आधी पढ़ाई तो हो गई, आपकी आधी पढ़ाई यही हो गई. ओके, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? एनी और किन्हीं को पूछना है? या प्लीज.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, sir. I'm Abhinav Chawla. So I wanted to ask one question. See, when I was in school, I used to love books. But when I was planning to make my career in medicine, though I wanted to become a designer, right now I'm a designer. So cracking those exams, it was like a mental trauma for me because it was a difficult situation at the time. So I used to love books initially, but when I crossed that situation, I didn't like books that much. So right now, the books, when I try to read books again at the level I used to do it earlier, so it's not the same thing. So I want to get back to that situation. How can I manage to get back into that situation again?
He'll be able to understand you.
Because you are coming from Chawla Sahab, because you are coming from design background, I like to try to answer this. See, there is a perception of book. Traditionally, जो आपके किताबें होती थी ना, those are written in a very systematic manner. Only that much is required has to be put on over there. All minds are not of that type, which will go in a very systematic manner. I also had difficulty. I didn't read very well till standard 7th, 8th, but then was like, you have to do it or you are gone. So I convinced myself, I sat down and I read. But nowadays, you see, there are books which are of all kind of varieties. You have picture representation in books. The books are also having these AR, VR inputs. The books are having colors, renders. They are having tools and techniques. So you can take a book of your choice and then start building on that. Because what happens, no, a skillful person is a skill. Right? Knowledge is only built up by what kind of things you have read. You have reference materials in your mind. Someone will say you are practicing a skill like this. Why don't you try it that way? So if you are having a book read behind, you can say in such and such book, it was recommended to work in such and such manner. And then your job is little easier. So that is what my comment is. Try to take your kind of book. And there are all kind of books available. My one of the close relatives, he is very much forest enthusiast. And he was not reading many study related books. So we encouraged him to read all these animal books, bird books, and all forest kind of books. And he, to your surprise, he is working with the World Health Organization. No, the Worldwide Organization, WWF. And he has done his forest management. He has done his bachelor's in zoology, and then finally he is working with WWF. And he is amazingly engaged in it. He takes cameras. He writes his mails to respective books with all the images attached, and some of the publishers are publishing his images also. So there is always a kind of book which you will like. Thank you.
जस्ट मैं उनमें ऐड करता हूँ, अप्रोच आपका चेंज होना चाहिए. 10 साल पहले जब मैं किताब पढ़ता था, मेरा अप्रोच होता था एक समुंदर में कितने बूंदे हैं. आज मैं पढ़ता हूँ, अप्रोच डिफरेंट है, एक बूंद में कितना समुंदर है. आपका अप्रोच टोटली चेंज हो जाता है 10 साल के गैप पे. ओके, इसका कहने का मतलब क्या हुआ कि अगर आप बुक पढ़ने में इंटरेस्टेड हैं, 2 पेज पढ़ के उसको समराइज करके 2 लाइन लिखिए. उसी में आपको पता चल जाएगा कि एक बूंद में कितने समुंदर है. आप 1 पेज नहीं लिख पाओगे, ये गारंटी मैं देता हूं, क्योंकि उसको आपके अपने लैंग्वेज में लिखना है. तो आपको समझ में आएगा कि उसने कितनी मेहनत किया हुआ और उसका जिस्ट क्या है. वो क्या कन्वे करना चाहता है। तो मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि आप अप्रोच को बदल डालिए। 10 साल पहले कुछ और थे, आज 10 साल के बाद आप कुछ और हो गए, आपकी पर्सनालिटी में टोटली चेंज आया है। आपका रिक्वायरमेंट अब वो नहीं है। पहले था चलो होम टास्क देना है, होमवर्क करना है, पापा के डंडे पड़ेंगे, डांट पड़ेगी। डंडे तो अब तो होते नहीं है, डांट पड़ेगी, उससे बचने के लिए आप किताबें पढ़ते थे। आज के दिन में वो नहीं है। आज के दिन में अब आपको है, आपको अगर पैशन है तो किताब पढ़िए फॉर ऑन लर्निंग। दूसरी बात जो सर ने बताया, अगर आपका कुछ टास्क है, सपोज कीजिए कि मैनेजमेंट का मैं फैकल्टी हूँ, मैंने कंसल्टेंसी प्रोजेक्ट लिया एम्पेडा का, मरीन प्रोडक्ट एक्सपोर्ट डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी का, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स का एक ऑटोनोमस। मुझे स्ट्रीम प्रोडक्शन पता भी नहीं था, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, बट आई हैव टू अप्लाई ऑल मैनेजमेंट टेक्निक्स इन द स्ट्रीम प्रोडक्शन इंडस्ट्री। I have to take care of the quality management of the streams, और वो भी साउथ इंडिया में जाके कोस्टल रीजन में। So I visited, I spent more than 90 days across coastal region। तो मुझे पता चला आफ्टर मीटिंग 4 डिफरेंट स्टेक होल्डर, एक जो फार्मर थे, एक्वा फार्मर उसको बोलते हैं, दूसरा है कि जो प्रोसेसिंग होता है वो, तीसरा जो था जो मिडिल मैन होते थे मार्केट में। अभी टोटली मेरे लिए टोटली न्यू था। एक और भी होता है बोटमैन, 80 किलोमीटर 200 किलोमीटर वो डीप सी में जाते हैं, और कभी कभी तो इंटरनेशनल लाइन को भी क्रॉस कर जाते हैं। इस तरह का काम आप करेंगे, आपको पढ़ने की जरूरत पड़ेगी। एंड पैशन विल गेट आउट ऑफ योर हेड ड्यू टू कंपल्सन ऑफ योर टास्क टू बी परफॉर्म। और ये टास्क इसलिए करते हैं बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू अचीव समथिंग। इसलिए मैं बोल रहा है कि अब बोलिए, अब देखिए कि एक बूंद में कितने सागर समा सकते हैं। दैट वाज माय पॉइंट। या
सर, अब सबसे सवाल है, प्राइवेट में तो एक दबाव होता है टीचरों पर, वो अच्छे से पढ़ाते हैं, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट स्कूल के कुछ टीचरों को हमने देखा, हमने कहा भी है कि आइए बुक्स लीजिए आप, नहीं अपने सब्जेक्ट ठीक है, इतना पढ़ा लें, इतना पढ़ाना है वो ठीक है। सॉरी मैं ऐसा कह रहा हूँ। तो और जो सच में टीचर बनना चाहते हैं वो अभी नहीं है उस लायक, मतलब कंपटीशन में नहीं है, तो इसका कोई सोल्यूशन देखते हैं आप सब? टीचरों, गवर्नमेंट टीचर की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं, क्या इसका कोई सोल्यूशन देखते?
हाँ, सभी गवर्नमेंट टीचर ही हैं मोटा मोटी। आप जिनसे भी बात कीजिए, हम लोग गवर्नमेंट टीचर ही हैं।
अगर आपने जो क्वेश्चन पूछा है बहुत वैलिड है कि पढ़ना क्यों है। सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन क्या है, पढ़ना क्यों है। ज्यादातर लोग पढ़ते हैं इसलिए हैं क्योंकि हमें कोई ना कोई एग्जाम क्लियर करना है या कोई ना कोई पेपर क्लियर करना है। लेकिन अगर आप देखें, चाहे आप किसी भी रोल में रहें, चाहे आप अपना बिजनेस करें, चाहे आप गवर्नमेंट जॉब में हो, चाहे आप किसी प्राइवेट सेक्टर में हो, तो ये जरूरी नहीं है कि किताबें उन्हीं के लिए जरूरी हैं जो टीचिंग में हैं या टीचर बनना चाहते हैं या आईएएस की तैयारी कर रहे हैं इसलिए पढ़ना है। मेरे ख्याल से पढ़ना जो है वो आपको किस तरह से मदद करता है अपनी जिंदगी में, वो आपका जो ओवरऑल रिलेशन अपने परिवार के साथ, अपने समाज के साथ और पूरे विश्व ब्रह्मांड के साथ, अगर आप
सेवा की तरह उसको करना है।
हाँ, तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि अगर आप ये समझना चाहते हैं कि अकेलेपन से एकांत की यात्रा, यानी लोनलीनेस से सॉलिट्यूड, अगर आप इसको एंजॉय करना चाहते हैं तो आप किताबों से दोस्ती करिए। और किताबों से दोस्ती इसलिए जरूरी है कि जब आप बचपन में जो किताब पढ़ रहे हैं और वो किताब को आज पढ़ेंगे और अपने 60वें साल में पढ़ेंगे, तीनों में वो किताब अलग अलग तरीके से नजर आएगी क्योंकि उसके साथ आपका अनुभव जुड़ा हो। तो किताबें हैं वो आपकी सबसे सच्ची दोस्त हैं, वो आपको हर वक्त।
ये बात तो हकीकत है, लेकिन ये टीचर्स गवर्नमेंट वाले क्यों नहीं समझ रहे हैं?
नहीं, वो मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ,
पढ़ाते हैं उनको सिर्फ अपनी सब्जेक्ट से मतलब,
सब्जेक्ट की नहीं है। मैं यही कह रहा हूँ, किताबें सिर्फ टीचर के लिए जरूरी नहीं है, किताबें हर उस मनुष्य की जरूरत है जो एक सच में सत्य की खोज में लगा है, जो अपने अकेलेपन को एकांत के भाव में जीना चाहता है और वो सहअस्तित्व में विश्वास रखता है। अगर वो विश्वास रखेगा तो उसको समझ में आएगा कि बुक्स की इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है, किताबें क्यों जरूरी है। अगर आप रामचरितमानस उठा के देखोगे तो आपके जितने सवाल दिन भर में आते हैं उसका हल रामचरितमानस में है ना?
नहीं, बस मेरा कहने का अर्थ वही था सर कि कुछ
मैं, देखिए ऐसा तो नहीं है कि जो शिक्षक नहीं अपडेट करना चाहते हैं वो जानते नहीं कि इसको अपडेट करना है, वो चाहते नहीं है। तो एक कहावत है कि आप जो सोया हुआ है उसको तो उठा सकते हैं, लेकिन जो जगा हुआ है और सोने की एक्टिंग कर रहा है उसको आप नहीं उठा सकते। तो आप अपना एनर्जी वहां पे मत खर्च कीजिए। जैसा मैडम ने बोला था कि यू लीड बाय एग्जाम्पल। आप उस चीज की महत्व को बढ़ा सकते हैं अगर आप कुछ काम करके उसमें दिखाएं। मैं इस बात से एग्री नहीं करता हूं कि टीचर को हमेशा निस्वार्थ काम करना होता है। सारे लोग सैलरी लेते हैं, हम भले ही बोल दें, लेकिन अच्छी अच्छी सैलरी सारे लोग लेते हैं। तो जब आप सैलरी लेते हैं और उसको खर्च करने में प्लेजर प्राप्त करते हैं, तो आप अपने बच्चों को ये नहीं सिखा सकते कि तुम निस्वार्थ काम करो। उसे भी आपको सिखाना पड़ेगा कि तुम्हें भी इस काबिल बनना है कि तुम भी कल को अच्छा कमा सको। मैं अपने सारे विद्यार्थियों को बोलता हूँ कि डायनामिक रहो, एग्रेसिव रहो, अच्छे बन के मेरे पास जब आओ तो झोला लेके मत आना, गाड़ी में आना और मेरे को कहीं खाने खिलाने ले जाना।
नहीं, एज अ टीचर इतना बड़ा अगर बन जाए तो अच्छी बात है, लेकिन ईमानदार टीचर तो एक सिर्फ।
तो मैं अपने सारे जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं, मास्टर्स लेवल के स्टूडेंट हैं, तुरंत वो लिंक्डइन, फेसबुक सब पे दोस्ती करने लगते हैं। मैं बोलता हूँ अभी तुमसे दोस्ती नहीं करूंगा, जब तुम कहीं नौकरी पालोगे, किसी अच्छे पोजीशन पे होगे, तब दोस्ती करूंगा। मैं अपना रिसोर्स वेस्ट नहीं करता हूँ। तो आपको इसी तरह करना होगा कि आपको कुछ काम करना होगा। और देखिए, अगर अच्छा काम है, आप अच्छी अपग्रेडेशन ले रहे हो, सीख रहे हो, तो आपका ही फायदा होगा। अगला नहीं सीखना चाह रहा है तो वहां पड़ा रहेगा। देयर इज ऑलवेज ए क्लॉग इन द सिस्टम। सिस्टम में कहीं क्लॉग आ जाता है ना, तो आप बहुत ज्यादा एक एज एन इंडिविजुअल उसको नहीं निकाल सकते।
सर, कुछ सवाल स्टूडेंट को लेकर भी होते हैं कि स्टूडेंट कई बार इंटरेस्ट नहीं होते। 40 में से 10 पढ़ रहे हैं, बाकी 30 बच्चे नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, और उसका कोई सोल्यूशन आप देखते हैं? 30 बच्चे जो,
देखिए, पढ़ाई लिखाई आजकल दूसरे तरह का हो गया है। पहले के जमाने में पढ़ाई होती थी जिसमें आप सब्जेक्ट का नॉलेज पूरा ले लेते थे और फिर आप काम करने जाते थे। आजकल जो जॉब रिक्वायरमेंट है किसी भी फील्ड में, वो बहुत डायनेमिक हो गया है। आप जब तक पूरा पढ़ के तैयार होंगे तब तक सिचुएशन चेंज हो जाएगा। सो यू हैव टू ऑलवेज बी ए फ्री टू चेंज एंड अडॉप्ट। तो आपको अडॉप्ट करते रहना पड़ेगा। तो ये जो स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं, विद्यार्थी, आपको उनका नेचर समझना पड़ेगा। आप उसको एब्सोल्यूट पढ़ाई नहीं कर सकते, इट इज रिलेटिव पढ़ाई। पढ़ाई अगर कोई बच्चा फिनेंस में अच्छा कर रहा है और दूसरा मार्केटिंग में अच्छा कर रहा है, तो आपको अपने कोर्स को अलग तरह का बनाना पड़ेगा। तो मैं अपने स्टूडेंट्स को फ्रीडम देता हूँ, मैं उनको थोड़ा ब्रीफ देता हूँ और बोलता हूँ तुम अपने असाइनमेंट चूज करो, और उसके लिए तुम्हें क्या क्या पढ़ना है वो तुम, हर बंदा अलग अलग पढ़ता है। मेरा काम बढ़ जाता है, लेकिन मेरे क्लास में कोई भी डिससेटिस्फाइड नहीं रहता है। और जो नहीं पढ़ना चाहता है, मैं उसे बोल देता हूँ तुम्हें कितने नंबर चाहिए, तुम बोल दो, मैं तुम्हें दे दूंगा। तुम आज अच्छे शेप में नहीं होगे, लेकिन मेरे को भरोसा है कि तुम अच्छे हो, कल को तुम अच्छा कर लोगे। तो व्हेन आई ट्रस्ट दैट पर्सन, नो, ही ऑल्सो फील्स कि अरे सर मेरे को ट्रस्ट कर रहे हैं, मैं इतना तो धोखा नहीं दे सकता। वो कुछ ना कुछ तो अच्छा कर ही जाता है।
यानी आप उसमें पॉजिटिविटी।
हाँ, आपको हमेशा एज ए टीचर पॉजिटिव ही रहना होगा।
मैम,
मैं आपसे, आपको सुनाई पड़ रही है मेरी आवाज? मैं एक चीज कहती हूँ जो मैं आपसे कहना चाहूंगी, और कुछ लोग और जो समाज को सुधारना, कोई एक शिक्षक है जो अच्छा नहीं पढ़ा रहा है उसको सुधारना, क्योंकि गांधी जी को पढ़ाती हूँ, तो बी द चेंज दैट यू वांट टू सी इन द वर्ल्ड। यहाँ पर जो लोग हैं या आप हैं, आप अपने को देखिए कि आप अपने को कितना बदल सकते हैं। मैं भी एक गांव की हूँ, गांव में पैदा हुई हूँ, अपने आप आधी चीजें हमने अपने आप पढ़ी, और आज भी आप ये सोचिए कि आप बहुत ही एक एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी एनवायरनमेंट में पढ़ के ही आप तब एक्सेल होएंगे, ऐसा नहीं है ना। आपको अपने आप भी पढ़ना पड़ेगा, और जो भी आपके सामने है उससे कुछ सीखने को आपको जरूर मिलेगा। और एक क्रिटिकिंग अच्छी है, लेकिन यहाँ पर हम उनको तो नहीं सुधार सकते हैं जिनकी आप बात कर रहे हैं, है ना। हम आपको बता सकते हैं कुछ जो सर ने इतने अच्छे से बताया कि आप पढ़िए and you try to change yourself. Be the change that, you know, you should be the change that you want to see in the world. I really feel that, you know, get out of that mindset, which I somehow saw. And that's why I was trying to get to you.
बिल्कुल मैम, आपने जो कहा एकदम टोटली एग्री विद दैट।
हेल्प करेगा, ठीक है ना।
बट फिर भी वो टीचर्स हैं, तो उनके लिए कुछ सोल्यूशन होना चाहिए सबके लिए।
देखिए, मैं काफी डिस्कशन हो गया है, और मुझे लगता है कि जब क्वेश्चंस की बारी आई तो सबसे ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस आपने ही पूछे हैं, और मैं टीचर्स को डिफेंड नहीं करना चाह रहा हूँ, बल्कि जैसा सब लोगों ने कहा कि टीचर्स जो है बहुत आशावादी होता है, मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल दूंगा। जब हमारी ग्रामीण शिक्षा व्यवस्था है तो वहाँ टीचर को असेस करने के लिए कि इंस्पेक्टर जाया करता था। तो एक प्राथमिक पाठशाला में यही हुआ कि टीचर कैसा पढ़ा रहा है, मैथमेटिक्स का टीचर था। तो एक सवाल पूछा गया कि बेटा 2 और 2 का जोड़ कितना होता है। तो बच्चे ने जवाब दिया 8। टीचर ने कहा वेरी गुड वेरी गुड। जो इंस्पेक्टर था उसने कहा क्या कर रहे हैं अध्यापक महोदय, 2 और 2 का जोड़ 8 तो नहीं होता है। बोले कि साहब मैं बड़ा आशावादी व्यक्ति हूँ, यही बच्चा कल 2 और 2 10 बता रहा था, आज 8 बता रहा है, कल ये 6 बताएगा और परसों सही बताएगा, 2 और 2 4 बताएगा। तो जो आपने सवाल उठाए हैं, शिक्षक हमेशा शिक्षक होता है। और देखिए एक और जो चीज होती है एक्सपीरियंस की है। जब क्लासरूम में जब शिक्षक जाता है तो शिक्षा वो अपने सब्जेक्ट के अलावा भी जो जीवंत है। हाँ, जैसा शुरुआत में हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, एक बिटिया का जो सवाल था कि मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा शिक्षक होने के लिए। तो शिक्षक 2 किताबें पढ़ के शिक्षक नहीं होता है। हम जो ऑब्जर्व करते हैं देखते हैं उससे भी सीखते हैं। और जब क्लासरूम में जाते हैं, मेडिसिन का प्रोफेसर है, सोशियोलॉजी की बात करता है, एंथ्रोपोलॉजी की बात करता है, मैनेजमेंट का प्रोफेसर है, सोशियोलॉजी की बात करता है। सर ने एग्जाम्पल दिए उपनिषद, रामचरितमानस, रामायण, महाभारत, सारे एपिक्स लाते हैं, कनेक्ट करते हैं। तो वो तभी आता है जब शिक्षक बनते हैं। जो एक गंभीर प्रश्न मैं आपके सवाल में देखता हूँ, वो गंभीर प्रश्न ये है कि इंटरेस्टिंग कैसे बनाएं। एक क्लास खत्म होती है तो 20 मिनट में इंटरेस्टिंग खत्म हो जाता है। तो ये आर्ट हम शिक्षकों को कहीं ना कहीं वहां से सीखनी पड़ेगी। जो डेली शॉप होते हैं ना, जो जो आप सीरियल देखते हैं, सीरियल किलर है, वो ऐसे मोड पे खत्म करते हैं कि एक क्यूरियोसिटी जगती है कि आगे क्या होगा। शायद मुझे लगता है कि इस पेडागॉजी में एनईपी 2020 में भी हमें ये सीखने की आवश्यकता है। और ये बात जो है, जो पुस्तक के ऑथर्स हैं उनके लिए भी एप्लीकेबल होती है। मैं एक एग्जाम्पल दूंगा कि बहुत सारी किताबों का केवल एब्स्ट्रैक्ट पढ़ के आपका इंटरेस्ट खत्म हो जाता है, प्रीफेस खत्म हो जाता है। बहुत सारे आई थिंक एक सवाल जो उधर से आ रहा था कि वीडियो है, ऑडियो है, बजाय उसके हम सुनना पसंद करते हैं। तो हमारी प्राच्य परंपरा में एक श्रुत परंपरा थी जहाँ शिक्षक केवल सुनाता था, स्टोरी टेलिंग थी। मैनेजमेंट के बहुत सारे लेसन आप पंचतंत्रा से उठाते हैं। पंचतंत्रा इज नथिंग, इज स्टोरी टेलिंग ओनली, उससे कनेक्ट करते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कहीं ना कहीं उस तरह की विधाओं की आवश्यकता है। और आपको जानकर ये बड़ा अच्छा लगेगा कि IIM बेंगलोर में एंशियंट नॉलेज सिस्टम पर बहुत जगह जो हमारा इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम है, ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज सिस्टम है, उस पर बहुत काम हो रहा है। तो अगर उस तरह की विधा से हम लोग चलेंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं समाधान होगा। एक माहौल को और लाइटर थोड़ा सा बनाते हुए मैं एक बात आपके बीच में साझा करना चाहता हूँ कि कहीं कोई ऐसे ही भिक्षा मांग रहा था। तो किसी ने पहचान लिया कि अरे आप तो अथॉरिटी हैं, आपने तो लिखा है कि हाउ टू बिकम 100 वेज ऑफ बिकमिंग अ रिच। तो उसने कहा कि ये भी तो एक तरीका है, मैं वही कर रहा हूँ। तो दिस इज द एप्लीकेशन पार्ट। तो मुझे लगता है कि विधाओं को अगर हम रोचक बनाएंगे तो निश्चय ही आपके सवाल आंसर। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
तो प्रैक्टिस में ज्यादा बिलीव कीजिए, आपका सारा सोल्यूशन निकल जाएगा। जहां गैप है फिल हो जाएगा, उसको आइडेंटिफाई आप आराम से कर लेंगे। वही आपकी शिक्षा है, वही आपकी लर्निंग है, वही सक्सेस मंत्र है। ओके, एनी क्वेश्चन?
हेलो। हेलो सर, मेरा नाम ललित है। सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि जो टीचिंग होती है वो बहुत ही नोबल जॉब होती है, तो क्या टीचर को पैसा कमाते हुए देखते हैं लोग पसंद नहीं करते कि पहले से हमेशा से, तो क्या ये ट्रेंड अभी चेंज हो रहा है?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं कि टीचर पैसा कमाया नहीं है। आपको मैं एग्जांपल देता हूँ, रामायण से उठाइए। रामायण में आप गुरु वशिष्ठ की बात कीजिए, उन्होंने वो राजा के इक्विवेलेंट होते हैं। ओके, आप द्रोणाचार्य की बात कीजिए, उनका रहने सहने का, उनका गुरुकुल का पूरा सिस्टम समझिए। आज के दिन में जो आप प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटी देखते हैं उसके सामने कहीं नहीं टिकता है। तो इस बात को मैं नहीं मानता हूं कि टीचर गरीब होता है और पैसे नहीं कमाता है। हम लोग ये मानते हैं कि टीचर का फंडामेंटल राइट है पैसा कमाना। आज की दुनिया वो है। ओके, और जब पैसे कमाएंगे तभी क्वालिटी आएगी। आज जो हम लोग जो आपके सामने बैठे हैं, किसी का भी सैलरी 2 लाख से कम नहीं है, इसलिए हम लोग आराम से बैठे हैं कि चलो 2 लाख तो आ जाएगा। ओके, जाने की कोई जल्दीबाजी नहीं है, सबका ही नाम पे गाड़ी बुक है। गेट नंबर 4 के आगे देखिए गाड़ी बुक है, सोफर के साथ, सोफर ड्रिवन कार है। ओके, अब मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अगर ये नहीं होता तो अभी हम लोग क्या कर रहे होते हैं। मेरे दिमाग में ये होता है कि बस पकड़ के मैं कब जाऊंगा। आपका मैं क्वेश्चन नहीं टेकल करता, 3 से 4 बजे का टाइम था, मैं बोलता टाइम खत्म हो गया है, क्योंकि मैं बस पकड़ने के लिए तैयार हूँ। मेरे पास कार है, ड्राइवर है, मुझे कोई टेंशन नहीं है। आपके साथ मैं 10 मिनट 15 मिनट ज्यादा दे रहा हूँ, तो अब मेरा उधर टेंशन ही नहीं है, न कमाने का न खाने, कोई टेंशन नहीं है। सरकारी नौकरी मिल गई है, बस सही बात है कि अच्छे काम कर रहे हैं। आप लोग के साथ काम करने में मजा आता है। मिनिस्ट्री का काम करता हूँ, एंजॉय करता हूँ, जो इंटरेस्ट बता रहे हैं, तो
सर, मैं
ऐसी
इसमें
बात नहीं है।
मैं एक बात ऐड करना चाहूंगी इसमें, आखिरी बात, क्योंकि यहाँ पर मनी की भी बात आ रही है, और एज अ टीचर मेरी ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इस चीज को यहाँ पर लाना, जो कि हम सिखाते भी हैं एथिक्स के द्वारा। और हम मैं शेक्सपियर लेती हूँ इसमें, ओथेलो, क्योंकि शेक्सपियर बहुत बड़ा साइकोलॉजिस्ट था। और उसका एक बहुत बड़ा कॉन्सेप्ट था हमार्शिया का, फेटल फ्लॉ। कुछ भी करिए आप, आपको ये मालूम होना चाहिए कि हमारा फेटल फ्लॉ क्या है। Unnecessary, very quick gain of money. तो एक चीज छोटी सी है कि जो मनी और ग्रीड के बीच का डिफरेंस है, वो आपको मालूम होना चाहिए। कहाँ पर मनी खत्म होता है और आपका लालच शुरू होता है, हर प्रोफेशन में, है ना। तो ये ऐसा नहीं है, एवरीबडी शुड एस्पायर टू हैव मनी, सफिशिएंट मनी टू टेक केयर ऑफ देमसेल्व्स, their families, but there is something much beyond that, and that is what is going to give you meaning of life, because that is how I teach this book Siddharth, which is the theme is meaning of life. There is a repulsion which you have towards money once you have collected a huge amount of it. So you have to have that kind of discerning mind, that where you are going into that slippery slope. You get my point? And that will help you in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Kunal, and our esteemed panelists for such an insightful session. I am sure the audience here has had many key points to note, learn, and apply in their respective fields. Moving ahead, I request our moderator, Professor Kunal, to present the esteemed guest with a memento as a token of our gratitude and appreciation. First, I would like to Dr. 𝐊𝐚𝐬𝐡𝐢𝐩 Singh to receive the memento, please. Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to Professor Neerja Pande to receive the memento, please. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to Professor Dr. Kirti Sharma to receive the memento, please. Now, I would like to request Professor Arvind Kumar to receive the memento, please. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Professor Kartik 𝐊𝐴. Please receive the memento, please. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, esteemed panelists and Professor Kunal, for participating in the panel discussion. This discussion has opened for new perspectives on the use of books as tool for teaching management. Your insight have provided you with a better understanding for the benefits and challenges of this approach. Thank you. Thank you all.